Now, I bet you didn't think I was going to do my little intro there, but I have to say hello to the FBI and CIA. We cannot ever get away with not doing that. I am DiBrava. Are you guys ready for this live tonight? I see you in the chat. Drew, U-Haul, Generally Specific, Tim, and of course, Siege, who put this together, did the whole intro with this very special guest that I'm bringing on today, which I thank you so much for. And I see a little newbie in here that said, oh, I love this comment. Where's my red pill Angelina Jolie? I'm liking that. That's a compliment. Okay. All right. So we have an awesome guest today. I'm going to bring him in now. He is an Air Force veteran. Okay. We're talking former bodybuilding competitor. Okay. A former youth pastor. He's been in the film and TV industry on camera, behind the scenes, off camera, holding the cameras, producing stunts, and every other thing that you could possibly think of. And most importantly, he is a man of God. So let me introduce you to the one and only Glenn Lawrence.
Wow.
How are you, Glenn?
Now that was an intro. Now, if I can get you to do that on a regular, like, I think I'm going to snip that whole clip right there. That's going to be my new intro. It's going to be DiBrava introducing me, and that's it. That's it. That's all I need.
Well, I can do it better, too, if you want. You're Hollywood, so it's like take 2, take 3, take 4, right?
You know what? Sometimes it's just one and gun. One
and gun. All right, all right. Okay, you know what?
So you like my attire today? You said we're about termination. So
listen, I was just going to say, you dressed for the occasion, honey, because I called you the Terminator. You are too fierce to not be called the Terminator. Did you bring your guns too? You got any weapons?
We are always tactically prepared.
Now, you were in the Air Force, so I'm assuming you know how to use that, right?
Oh yes. Just because I was in the Air Force doesn't mean I was not the chair force, the Air Force.
Not the chair. My dad's Air Force, so I love my veterans. I love my veterans. Thank you for your service. We wouldn't have any freedoms if it wasn't for our military, like you.
That is right.
100%. 100%.
So, are we going to destroy anything today, or are we just looking cool?
Let's see. I think we're gonna put some things on trial. We might destroy some things, but you had a really good question, which is where do we go from here with the red pill? But listen, I always start my episodes with a riddle, but today we're gonna do something different. We're not starting with a riddle today. I have something new. So what I am going to sing a parody of someone. If they were a singer in the manosphere, I want you to guess who it would be. Does that make sense? All right.
Sounds good.
All right, let me get my, okay. How could I just let you turn around, let me leave without a trace? With the knowledge that I gave to you, you douche nozzles, you fools. I'm the only one who really broke it down for you. So take a look at me now. I brought us all to a rational place. How dare you chastise me when I set you free? I'm the godfather of the space. Take a good look at me now. I brought us all to a rational place. How dare you chastise me when I set you free? I'm the godfather of the space. And look, man, you better go buy my book, right? Everybody gets on here and says, I'm just here to sell books. Well, why don't you buy the book? I'm in the book, business of writing. All right, you have any guesses?
Man, so many names. But I think I'm going to lean with Rollo Tomassi.
Of course, I know. I gave you an easy one this time, okay?
That one was hilarious. Oh my God.
The douche nozzles, you fools.
That was it.
You douche nozzles, you fools.
Oh, that was it.
Listen,
all I needed was douche nozzles. That was all she needed to say.
That was literally one of the funniest viral things I've ever seen.
It was.
I swear. I was dying of laughter with that. You got to respect Rollo Tomassi. I mean, seriously, he is the godfather.
I always say, respect the man's work, I
Yeah.
respect the man's work. Him and I had a falling out. Him and I, we don't see eye to eye. I respect the man's work. I don't necessarily have to respect the man.
There you go.
The man's work is 20 years in the making. Put a lot of heart into his work, a lot of time, dedication, a lot of hours, sacrificed a lot to put that work out there. You got to respect the man's work.
Yeah, a lot of there's a lot of people out there. Everybody, there was a conversation that I was having with the saint and the sinner. He was asking about Pearl. People, oh, she's this, she's that. But look, man, the girl. You want to talk about work ethic? That girl has.
I'll tell you
right
there. Nobody works harder than Pearl.
All right, there's just you can call her a grifter. Oh, her daddy's rich and all whatever. So what? Speaking of that. This here. I want to talk. Now we're going to get serious, okay? And look, you're schooling me on the red pill, okay?
Yeah.
I fight
Welcome
the
to
war.
Class has begun.
The class has begun. Okay, I'm a good student, and I go to church, and okay, I'm a believer in God, which I love about you, by the way, because we've become a godless country. Let me tell you something. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't get it. So I am fighting the war against femininity. I'm fighting for femininity. So I'm against feminism, but I'm fighting the war on femininity. And, I always say, look, I don't consider myself in the manosphere. It's a man's space. I can't possibly be in any of these spaces. This is your thing, but I respect it. And I happen to agree with a lot of the ideologies and thoughts of the red pill. So why not have a conversation about it? Now, one thing I have a question for you is this. So we are like in unprecedented times, right? I mean, the country is in a state that I've never seen. I mean, you hear about things, your grandparents tell you this, your parents tell you that, but it seems like everyone is at war. Everyone, including everyone in the space, so to speak. And it's sad because it's like, this is, to me, with independent media, it's one of the biggest opportunities that we've ever seen. Think about 4 years ago, right? It's an election year, right? 4 years ago, people were still watching Fox News. I mean, my parents don't even have cable. My father's like yelling at me going, it's X, young miss. I'm like, if I say Twitter, he's like, didn't you see it on Twitter or on X? And you know what I mean? We're just in different times. So that being said, it's like, the opportunity to actually, sway policy, politics, bring back religious values. There's a major opportunity here, but at the same time, in the space that we kind of are all in a way, right? It seems like everyone is arguing. Yeah,
because everybody has an idea on how to get there, what's going to work. My biggest thing with the space is that it says it's not about best practices, but the song that you just sang, the author of that song wrote 9 Iron Rules, which is our best practices.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like he wrote the rational or the Rollo Tomassi.
Oh, Rollo Tomassi. Yes, I thought you were talking about the writer of the song, and I'm like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah, no, he wrote 9 Iron Rules, and 9 Iron Rules are best practices. He said they're descriptives, but I'm like, they're descriptives of best practices.
There you go.
So why are the best practices not about building families together, making healthy relationships again? Why does it seem like it's about embracing feminism and capitalizing on feminism? Now, I would say the real red pill is not the red pill, the mainstream red pill that we see. The real red pill is the married red pill. If you ever look into those forums, the married red pill, the forums on the married red pill, that to me is the real red pill.
Now, explain to us the difference. Those are guys that are trying
to find like solutions to fix their marriage. These are guys that are trying to find solutions to solve their sexless bedroom problems. These are guys that are trying to find solutions on how to, get their wife, interested in them again. That's the real red pill, in my opinion.
And that's so what I would call that like the nuclear family, right?
Yeah. That's where you would see more of the fight for the nuclear family.
Right.
At. The red pill that we see today in mainstream, it's more pop culture red pill.
Very
not to say that it's not, it doesn't derive from the same place.
Yeah,
it does, and it has the same principles, but the end goal is different.
End goal is different. What is the end goal for the commercial red pill?
Well, it's It tells you what it is. It's about like getting many women to lay with you, get your notch count up, be that, Chad, be that guy that every girl wants to sleep with and every, guy wants to be,
Yep.
Be the alpha. But to what the problem with that is that it doesn't really talk about at what cost does that come with. Getting your notch count up. Okay, so we just see short end goals. Okay, getting women to lay with you. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means you subject yourself to false, essay claims. That means you risk pregnancy scares.
Yep.
Fresh,
which, then you have the chance of an abortion. I am totally pro-life, so I'm completely against that.
And then exactly. So it's like you risk all this stuff in doing so.
Yep.
But all the guys here is get your notch count up.
Right. It's interesting because, and I try not to bring my, out of respect for my family, I don't talk too much about my personal life, but I will say, it's so odd to me because even the small group of friends that I have, even from growing up, I went to a very small school. I was homeschooled most of it, and my parents are still married. I don't really have a friend that has comes from a divorced home. I don't really understand that. I don't see how this country can, progress without the nuclear family. To me, it's super important. So that's why I think a lot of things that I hear you talking about, I really can identify with that because I think that people are lost.
How do we get back to that?
Yeah, how do you get back to that? Because when you have people like Fresh and Fit,
knowledge, is like once we have the red pill knowledge, then how do we get back to that?
Yeah.
How do we? Well, we can't change women. Women. If we're saying that we can't do anything about it, then it's like a failure mindset.
Correct.
We can change. We can change. We've changed obviously from where we were to where we're at now. So there's obviously a way to change things back, or to course correct. To get people holding family values as tightly as a core as it should be. We can get back to that. Is it going to take time? Yes. Is it going to be in our lifetime? Probably not. But we're supposed to leave an inheritance for our children's children, and that could be monetary, but also the inheritance is, having those values again.
Got it. Here's the thing. Fresh and Fit, there's so much drama, even just in the space alone. It's like that whole scandal, like you're saying, I'm totally realizing, where you're going with, Fresh and Fit's like body count. It's all about, and look, I don't think there's anything wrong with telling, trying to help improve men, how to better men or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, family values, I feel like the space in a way has been invaded, right? So I want to ask you a question. What are your thoughts on, it seems like look, I created a show called Onlyfans on Trial because a lot of these platforms is just literally has been infiltrated by feminists debating against these men. So, and then it becomes like, well, is this really a space about improving men or bettering men? Or is this really a space for women to come on and troll and just push feminist ideologies in the space? It's like, it's diluting the message almost.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And how do you, Ryan Stone, great red pill author, and he wrote the book, Dread and Frame. He's like, don't argue with women.
Don't argue with women. So then
why are you going on debating these women's argument? Just don't give them, if you want to shut down feminism, don't give them the oxygen.
Don't give them the oxygen. Exactly.
Yeah, look, guys, you want women in your life? Okay, then you vet for women that you want in your life. And if you want to avoid women that are big into, feminist narrative, then you ignore them. You just don't associate with them. You don't, fraternize with them. You don't do any of that stuff. You just exclude them. Oh, but they're the hot ones. Well,
It's like the manosphere has become dominated by feminists. It's like the feminist debate sphere now, and half it doesn't.
In many regards, yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and meanwhile, a lot of it is just the same rhetoric. I think a lot of them are agents, personally. When you look at history, it's like, and I did an episode on this. Like Pixie and all these people. It's like, how do you just appear out of nowhere? You're just flying all across the country and infiltrating these spaces. Because let's face it, I don't feel that, the powers that be really like this message. It doesn't really benefit their agenda, but it's a message that's getting out there for sure.
It doesn't benefit, the red pill doesn't benefit the mainstream woke agenda, but also doesn't benefit the trads agenda right now. Traditionally conservative.
There you go.
I think that we should partner up with people that we have more alignment with. If we're saying feminism is the problem, then let's hitch our horse to the group of people that are trying to get rid of feminism.
100%.
Instead of attacking them. Yeah,
100%.
So they want marriages and families. Okay, you don't believe in marriage and family the way that it's done now. And I agree with you, because the way that we do marriage today is not a biblical marriage.
No, I don't believe in the government being involved in marriage at all. I think it's ridiculous.
I agree.
It's been weaponized. And women, here's a good example of this. It's like the Tradcons, right? You can call yourself a Tradcon. I don't particularly believe that there is any such thing. And I feel that to call yourself a traditional conservative in that way, you might have ideology, you might live by traditional values, that's a whole different thing. But we're in modern times. So if you're not Amish, you're really not a true traditional conservative, because we're using
our last
iPhones.
Traditional conservative generation was like my grandma this age, and she's 96.
There you go. Totally different era, different everything. And even the Tradcons, marriage, right? Well, why don't they come together and try and get the government out of marriage? They don't really get anything done.
It doesn't benefit them to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because they benefit from the problem.
Correct. Do you think that most female Tradcons or females that consider themselves Tradcons are really just feminists,
feminists
at
in
heart?
disguise?
Yeah.
They're feminists in disguise. They're feminists that love Jesus.
That's a good one.
So, egalitarians, right? The term egalitarian. Do you know what it was before?
No.
Biblical feminists.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I have a friend named Nick Barnes, former pastor Nick Barnes. Goes by Unplugged Christianity. He might be in the chat. He is writing a book. He wrote one book already on this, and so has Rachel Wilson, Occult Feminism.
Mm-hmm.
And they both, both of their works mirror each other. And she labeled it too, egalitarians was biblical feminists. They couldn't back in the 70s, they couldn't get guys to get behind the whole biblical feminist motive, narrative. So they're like, egalitarians. Oh, that's pretty close enough. It's the same meaning.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even have to read that. I like Rachel Wilson. I like,
Rachel and Andrew are great people.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, any of those girls sitting across from him, you stepped on a landmine, young miss. Millennial Millie. It's like, I used to always say, this girl is a feminist. Finally, she's exposed herself because the Crucible, Andrew, I think has made us all aware of that. Anybody that was, is second guessing whether she was or not. I mean, those talking points, when I don't know if you saw it or not, when she was on the whatever podcast debating him, I'm like, first of all, you sound ridiculous. You're arguing feminist points. It's like, do you realize that? It makes no sense.
Most of them don't. That's the thing. They don't realize it.
They don't realize it, right?
They don't realize it. They don't realize that their talking points are feminist at heart. And, what we need is a biblical patriarchy, not just any patriarchy. See, Michael Foster, he wrote, It's Good to Be a Man. And he talks about good patriarchy and evil patriarchy. what we have now, or what we had that led to this, was an evil patriarchy. It wasn't a patriarchy founded on God. It wasn't a patriarchy founded on God's principles. It was an evil patriarchy. It was about selfish patriarchy. What can the guy get? You know, me, 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 me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, my people, like a good patriarchy is a God-fearing patriarchy led by God. It's a man that's following God's will, God's, everything. And we don't have that. And so that's why I say the women go from the bad boys, skip over the good guys, and then they find the safe guys. See, the safe guys are all about feminism and egalitarianism, equality. So there's no consequence there. The bad boys, they represent an evil patriarchy. So when women see patriarchy in general, they run away from it. So they ignore the good guy. The good guy represents the good patriarchy, more of a
Right.
biblical patriarchy, And so what women tend to do is like they go from bad boy and they see patriarchy. They see the good guy, although he represents patriarchy. They just see patriarchy. They don't know if it's good or bad. And then they just jump straight over to the safe guy because the safe guy is not going to hold them accountable. Patriarchy still holds them accountable.
Wow, that is really I've never heard anybody. I've never even thought of what you're saying right now. It's pretty deep if you really think about it. Actually, you're describing the problem in the country. Period.
Yeah,
it's really mind-boggling. Even women.
Well, even Jordan Peterson wrote this. He says something about like men are not supposed to be safe, but we're supposed to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the Bible, and I'm not sure if you grew up watching Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, but
No.
the lion in the movie Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Narnia, represents God, right? And they
Okay.
were talking to, I want to say the weasels or the muskrats or something. They're like, "Oh, I'm scared to meet a lion. Is he safe?" And they're like, "No, Aslan is not safe. He's a fucking lion, but he's good." And see, that's what men are supposed to be. We're not supposed to be safe. We're supposed to be good. Good to those that we love, good to those that are underneath us, good to those that are around us, right? We're not safe, but we're good. Doesn't mean that that you won't receive consequence or you won't receive any, correction, and it won't hurt. It would, but I'm good. That's how men's supposed to be.
That's you know what? I feel like you're describing my dad. Is it a military thing or what?
It might be just an Air Force thing.
It could be an Air Force thing. You guys have a real way of dealing with women, with, I mean, my father is really slick. He was intelligence, CIA. He's on a whole other level. I would think I was making decisions and that he was actually making for me, which I love. But, I just don't understand even this generation. There's like a large swath, I'll say, of females that are just literally not only destroying themselves, destroying the youth coming up listening to them. Okay,
Yeah,
this idea
guys
that
benefit from it though,
and guys benefit from it, right? And what you're saying, that balance there, they go from, it's like total oppositions. There's no middle ground. There's no common sense even, and no one's God fearing. It's like the only the middle that what you're describing is God fearing. I always say this: the feminist movement, call it what you want to call it, what you want. Women's rights to vote, right? And people get so mad at me because I'm like, look, at this point where we are, is women shouldn't be voting. I don't want to vote. If I have to say, Dad, what am I supposed to do? I don't care. Like, tell me what to do, okay? That you understand what I'm saying? It's like, I don't really want to, I don't care. It's like, I want my father or, my fiance or whatever to do it for me. I don't want to have to think about those things. I want to do other things. I don't want to compete with men. But when women actually got the right to vote, look what they did with it. They put in abortion.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone to me is why. Okay.
Well, here's the difference. When men vote, men are supposed to vote for the collective of society, what's best for everybody. look at what women vote for. Women only vote for what's best for their sex.
Correct.
They don't care about children. They don't care about, men. They care about what's best for their sex.
Yep.
And it's very solipsistic, so should women vote? No. Do I think we could change any of that? Not without force.
Yep.
Not without physically taking control over it and, repealing the 19th on a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. If anything, the husband should take over whether or not what their wives vote for.
100%.
Now they got 2 votes.
That's what my dad. I'm telling you, my dad says the same thing. Because look, we're in unprecedented times. To me, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I'm in Manhattan. I mean, literally, the former president Trump was in court. And someone lit themselves on fire. Like, I live in a very nice area, okay? I'm on Park Avenue. I'll say that. I won't say where. It's like homeless. The city is an absolute zombie-filled catastrophe.
Yeah.
Okay? I used to run in Central Park almost every day. I won't even go near the park, okay? Not happening. It's affecting everyone. I don't understand how women can sit here and argue with me about, Joe Biden and tell me that, President Trump is a racist. I don't care about any of this. It's like, look, do you realize what we're doing right now? Look at the state of the country. And everyone just lies to themselves. I don't understand it. It's like saying that, the current president is totally coherent. I mean, it's ludicrous.
The man can't even walk upstairs.
It's nuts. It's
like,
absolutely nuts.
I need you to be able to walk upstairs without assistance, okay? And I need you to not sniff every girl's hair that comes by. Like, can you stop sniffing the hair of women, please? Like, talk about the most sexist thing you could do.
Oh, Glenn.
Is that herbal essence?
Glenn. Oh my gosh.
Imagine you meeting the president and he just takes a whiff of your hair.
I cannot. I absolutely cannot imagine that. I cannot imagine that. Speaking of the presidency and election year and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're in this is like the most important year of my life, pretty much. I think of all of our lives. Okay. Now,
I think this election will definitely change. It either is going to change the course of where we're going down further, either worse.
Yep.
Or we're going to start seeing a course correction.
Correct.
To some degree. I don't think Trump is going to be able to get it all done in his 4 years.
Yep.
That's why I wasn't opposed for him running again. I did think that Trump brings in a lot of baggage. Let's just be honest. Like the previous 4 years, there's a lot of baggage.
Yep.
And although he's the best out there,
right?
I really wish Dos Santos and Trump didn't have so much beef.
There you go.
I thought they would have been a good ticket together.
This is exactly what I wanted to get into a conversation with you. This turmoil, this internal fighting, even in the space that we're in, right?
Yeah.
If the manosphere, the Tradcons, the right-wing media, they kind of, it's like, I understand there's differences, right? But there still is a goalpost that there are still things that we kind of all can say, okay, yeah, we all kind of want to do this. Fine. If you want to act like, take on the fresh and fit ideology where, it's all about body counts and fine. If you want to be, red pill, marriage, great, right? But something has to change here, right? And if all of these people in these spaces came together, it could be a force like no other. But instead, you've got the Daily Wire fighting, people like the Fresh and Fit scandal. You've got Crowder, his wife, this one, that one. Pearl's getting demonetized. Fresh and Fit's demonetized. I mean, there's literally like a war going on. And then you have the lower tiers where these like bottom, feeders are like these feminists that are just infiltrating even people at a lower level and just, overt sex talk and all this nasty, disgusting stuff. It's like, what are we really getting done? Do you think that there is a chance for all of these spaces to actually come together and push for a real change as a coalition?
I think in order to do that, you have to get down to foundation. Is feminism a problem? Yes. Is weak male leadership a problem? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's combat that. Once we agree, I think the problem with Daily Wire is that they don't think that it is as much of a problem as it is. As you saw in Pearl's debate, Michael
Knowles
was kind of really dismissive of everything.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that happens, but how often does it really happen? How, if you just are Catholic and you just, go to the Latin Mass and then that'll fix all your solutions.
You're spot on with that one.
if it was that easy, then we wouldn't have the problem.
Exactly.
But it's not that easy. So it's like realizing, okay, we have a generation of weak men. We have a generation of, the best way to word it, I think Michael Foster talks about, we have androgyny going on. And that's basically...
Explain that.
Androgyny is basically not knowing what sex you are.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women can do it, the same thing. It's androgyny.
Right.
Like this.
Yep.
So the church has this a spirit of androgyny,
mm-hmm.
where we're letting female pastors and, all this stuff, right? That's androgyny.
Yep.
But then in the reality, in the world, we're actually seeing androgyny manifest in full form when we have all the T's running around.
Exactly. And even in the Catholic Church
people
now,
saying that they're gender fluid. Like,
yeah,
what? Gender is not fluid. Gender is, binary.
Exactly.
So it goes to, we have to, the conservative side of things don't even know what the enemy is. They think the enemy is the red pill. They think the enemy is feminism, maybe to a degree, but I think their main argument is the red pill. Well, these red pill guys.
Yep.
They're not your
right.
enemy. Sure, they may disagree with you on many things, but they're not your enemy. You make them your enemy.
And do you think they're doing that by design, or do you think that they actually feel that you are the enemy?
A sense of fake chivalry.
Mm-hmm.
We got to defend the milady's honor. We got to defend these 304's honor. We got to defend these, if men didn't want porn, women wouldn't do porn.
Mm-hmm. That's the narrative with all of these, OnlyFans prostitutes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them models. They are prostitutes. You're taking your clothes off on OnlyFans and reading the Bible. I mean, and that it's like become so disgusting and grotesque, like to the point where we are literally, there are women on here reading the Bible naked.
It's funny you mentioned that. So, my buddy Nuke and I, we posted something on Twitter months ago, and then this lady replies back to us, all right, with a 20-minute video of her in lingerie reading the Bible, and talk about bits and pieces coming loose and being exposed, and we were dying. So we ended up doing a reaction video to that video, 20 minutes of it. It was
Siege, you gotta send me that link.
It is so hilarious. Siege, you know what I'm talking about? The one with me and Nuke. I want to say this was like, this is probably like in January or something like that. Oh, it was hilarious.
How? This is nuts. I mean, it's like, oh no, I'm a virgin. I'm a virgin, but I'm an OnlyFans prostitute.
She's saying like she has like, she's a prostitute. she even says she's an escort. And she has like 5 baby daddies or something like that.
Oh.
And she's trying to read to us in the Bible where it says not to judge. It was the most funniest thing. I just couldn't help but laugh.
You know what's funny too? It's like, I always say, why do these girls, like, why would that woman come to you? right? But it's almost like they know what they're doing is wrong. They want acceptance. They're looking for you to give them acceptance. And Michael Knowles is known for this. Well, I understand, you didn't have a 2-parent household, your mother was a crack whore, and you know what? That is not an excuse. I'm sorry, okay? Women, when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, right? I already knew I wanted to make jokes and do all kinds of stuff, right? I wasn't sitting there going, Dad, you know what? I really dream of being a prostitute. Do you think I can, do you think I could be a prostitute? I'd love to be a street walking prostitute and do porn. I mean, these are not thoughts that women have. This is not a natural thing. It just isn't.
I think it's an attention thing, right?
Yes.
Attention is gold in girl world, right?
Yep.
So if you acquire, this is where social media has really ruined everybody by the likes and the hearts and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, you take a picture and your photo got like 10 million likes. Well, that doesn't mean you got 10 million guys that want to marry you. But they think it does. They
do.
No, you got 10 million guys that would, use your flesh as a means to release, stuff. But it doesn't mean that they value you more than that.
Correct. And do you think that these women know this? They have to know this, or are they just this dumb?
No, I think that's just, they may intrinsically know it deep down, but everything else tells them different. They get confirmation bias by everything else.
Confirmation bias. Yep. Yeah. And no accountability either. And God is so important. There's no God-fearing women that are feminists. You
can't be a feminist and be a Christian.
But also, it's like, if you're not God-fearing, right? It's an scapegoat. It's an excuse. It's like this hedonistic thing, and it's okay. So there's no accountability for anything. You know what I'm saying?
There's absolutely no accountability, but the reason is there's no accountability because men don't want to hold women accountable.
That's right.
Because if men have to hold women accountable, then we have to hold ourselves accountable.
You're right. Because the only reason why women are in this place is because men allow it.
Yeah, we promote it. We have profitized off it. Like the sexual revolution, before it was hard to get girls to sleep with you.
Right.
You had to really convince them. And then maybe if you were the fiance,
right,
and your wedding is like, 2 months away, then they might give it out finally.
Right.
Now with the sexual revolution is like, let me just say this. Vagina has lost its value ever since the pill. Like
birth control, 100%.
The value of vagina has tanked because you don't know whether or not she's had a child or not. You won't know.
You're right. And birth control, to me, I mean, I've never taken birth control. I mean, I know that's a very personal thing to say, but I haven't. I don't believe in that.
Good, because
there's no reason why you can get pregnant. I hear these girls are like, "Oh, it was an accident." How was it an accident? There is no accidental pregnancy. Okay, there is a way to not get pregnant, and we all know what that is.
It's called by not having sex.
Hello.
Like that's what my thing was like with the fresh and fit thing. Like he's like, "Oh, just have an abortion." I was like, well, hold on. Now you're trying to avoid accountability and consequence.
100%.
But you're sitting here complaining about women wanting to avoid accountability and consequence, but yet you are trying to do the same thing here too. That was my only contention with him. It wasn't the fact that he got with her or her past or whatever. It was the fact that when it's convenient, he wanted to exercise that rather than anything else.
And something else that really bothered me. I didn't even touch that. I'm like, I'm not covering this. But here's the thing that I think is really bad. So on top of that, what you're saying, which I agree with you 1,000,000%, all right? If she is pregnant, which who knows? I mean, she's like, I put you like your baby. I mean, who knows if what that is. But if she is pregnant and he does end up having a child, you just said all of this. Like, that's disturbing to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, think about it. If she does, like, again, we don't know if she's pregnant.
Right.
We don't know any of this. We don't even know if he's the father.
Correct.
But if we get a little Bruce Leroy looking fresh running around, right? and it comes out to be his. This is out there now, and his kid, all you got to do is go on Wayback Time Machine and find out your dad didn't want your little ass around
Yes,
here.
that's right.
Your dad wanted you to be aborted. Like, how does that make the child feel? Like, think about the child. Think about if it was a son, it was a boy, and you hear like your dad didn't even want you to exist. Like that is rough. You know, like you don't think that's gonna cause that kid to have mental problems or have some type of just issues?
I can't even imagine it. I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine any of this because I have such a loving family. Like I talk to my parents every single day. I'm home at least once a week at least. Like it's weird to me. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I can't really understand it. I do though, from being in society, see that people that come from all of these broken homes and like what you're saying, somebody that I know, an acquaintance, told me that her mother tried to abort her like 3 times. I mean, can you imagine what kind of life that is? I can't even really imagine that. It's like my mother would jump out in front of a car for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just such an odd thing. And that's that, the whole thing with Fresh and Fit with all of that. Yeah, she's wrong. He's wrong. It's the whole way it's going down. It's bad for the space too. It's bad for the whole thing. Cause people that don't understand this, they lump everything into the red pill. It's all red pill. Everything is red. Fresh and Fit's red pill. It's all red pill because that's just all they know. If you say, they're like, what's the manosphere? Like, I'm talking about people that really just have absolutely no clue. I'm learning. I'm a novice at this, but I'm talking about people that just don't know anything. Everything is the red pill. Donald Trump is racist. It's the red pill's fault. Everything is. And what is the next move? Like, where does the red pill actually go from here? How do you change the space? How do you make it better? How do you grow it?
I think this is where I go and say, biblical patriarchy is the solution. If we want to see a positive evolution from the red pill, go to biblical patriarchy. Pastors like, Mike Foster or pastors like Joel Webbin from Right Response Ministries, these guys know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. These guys they do information. They have this information. I think Joel Webbin just recently released an interview that he had with Pearl, which was a great conversation. Okay. Now I've worked with Pearl, and yes, everybody knows I was Pearl's producer for the Daily Wire, and when she was in Vegas, or not Vegas, when she was in Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was with her at the Daily Wire. Okay. With her at Jason Whitlock's Fearless podcast as well.
Okay. I love Jason.
So I was with them too, during that week. And Pearl's a friend. Me and her have talked a lot about God. I think that's how we became friends, is just our conversations about the Bible and the church and God and where the church is messing up.
Interesting.
And so I think she's, she means well. A lot of people don't like her. That's fine. That's their own prerogative. I think she means well. Is she a grifter? Everybody that has a microphone and a camera that's on YouTube is a grifter.
We just said that. The Saint and the Sinner, the interview that we had with, we just said that. He was like, everyone's a grifter. Because I'm like, everyone wants to call Pearl this and that. A lot of it is jealousy too. Let's be real, okay? When you're able, I don't care what anybody says. There's a lot of jealous feminists out here. Yep. And they spend a lot of energy trying to take this one down and do that and do. And it's just such a bunch of psychobabble. I can't even engage in that nonsense. I'm not putting energy in it, right?
No, they shouldn't put any energy into it.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's just low vibrations, and it's never going to go anywhere. It's just dumb. But, Pearl is a hard worker. I will say that. I feel sorry for what's happened to her. To work like that and be demonetized, that's actually insane. Same thing with
Have you not connected with her?
I've never connected with her. No, actually, I have to say thank you right now. And then I'm going to read a couple super chats because I see they're casting Midtown. Thank you so much. Hello, cult members. Sorry, Glenn. Right, and everybody in this chat. I'm still learning that I have to look at the chat because this is like my second live. And you can read your chats. We have U-Haul, casting. Thank you. Oh, Mama Pets is in here. Obviously, Siege is in here. And shout out to Siege because he connected me with you, Glenn. So I wouldn't even be talking to you if it wasn't for him. So I love you, Siege. Wayne is in here. Now, I always see Wayne in Rollo's chat because I like to super chat Rollo and get him all riled up. He'll read my super chat. He'll be like, and then he'll go on and on and on. And it's actually funny. And so I have fun with Wayne on there. We've got Drew. Tim is in the house. You guys always take great care of me. I'm Generally Specific was in there before. Vocal Charm. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry.
Generally Specific is a really good guy. Have you worked with him either?
Yeah, actually, the first time that I jumped on somebody else's live was GS. So when I was on the show with Saint and the Sinner, I had shouted out Siege and Generally Specific and that family because they are all the ones supporting me right now. And thank you.
Yeah, GS is a good guy. I talked to him last week. I was gonna have him on the Dragon Ship last weekend, but it was just we also had Jack Napier on as a guest too. So
I think that's a great show for him because military.
Yeah, no, I think Generally Specific will be great on the Dragon Ship.
Yeah,
I think he brings that exactly what we need on there.
Absolutely.
Personally.
Absolutely. I love. Actually, that's the first thing I saw.
I still see him in the chat.
Oh, okay. Hey, GS. That show is everything. That's the first thing that I saw of you because I just went on your page and it was live and I just watched it. And then I went through all your other stuff and I'm like, wow, this guy's on point. The space needs your voice, clearly. And you've been a voice. I mean, you've been, in the space for, a while. But
been here for a minute now.
Yeah,
I've been here for a minute.
It's everything. Do you want to read anything from your chat?
Oh no! I think I'm not even live streaming.
Gosh! I probably should have figured out how you could have done it.
No worries. No, I do this. I like focusing all the traffic to one person's channel sometimes. Just because
thank you.
I want everybody that would watch me coming here to see you, rather than just watching me from my channel. I want your channel to get the views.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody in the chat. GS, Generally Specific. You got, if anybody that hasn't seen him, go see him. U-Haul is also in the chat. Thank you. And Vocal Charm's in here. Alex too. Alex from Australia. Thank you for tuning in, Alex. And Vocal Charm, you owe GS a voice lesson and me. So don't forget about that. All right. Okay. I was thinking, it's so funny because my I have brothers and lots of cousins, lots of males around me, right? And they're huge into sports. And my dad was having a conversation about, the red pill and the space. He likes GS too. He's always listening. He'll never actually admit or get in the chat or anything like that, but he listens to it. He's a lurker. I'm like, you're such a creep, Dad. You're a creeper. So now he's listening to you and he's listening to Saint and the Sinner too, right? So I didn't even tell him that I was going on the Saint and the Sinner. I mean, maybe my brother mentioned it or something, but he's like, I saw you on the Saint and the Sinner. You did not tell me you were. I was like, I didn't tell anyone because I was scared. I'm like,
Marquette is a really good guy.
He is, but he can be scary. When he reached out for any of the thoughts sitting across from him.
I talked to Marquette when I was in Vegas on the phone. I got his number. He's a good guy. I think I know him through a friend, JiBrizy. And that's how I know Marquette. JiBrizy is a magician. Now this guy is
a magician?
He's a magician.
I'm gonna love
is
this.
The dude. Like my heart I have a spot for JiBrizy in my heart. Always will. He is a guy that is he will bend over backwards and help you out if you ever need anything. So the studio that Red One Studios is in, that's actually one of JiBrizy's apartments that he had that he loaned us, and then he's like, yo, you can just do whatever you want with it.
Wow.
So when I left, they took it over and they actually have the studio in there. So but JiBrizy is that guy that will just bend over backwards and help people out.
Wow, that's incredible.
I met JiBrizy when I debated Zherka.
Oh, you debated Zherka. I didn't see that. I got to watch that.
Oh, yeah, that was back in June.
I got to watch that one. Siege, send me that link too.
I debated Zherka on the Bible, and I roasted him. It was funny.
Wait, what are his thoughts on the Bible?
So he was just a new Catholic, and he thought like in the Bible it said women are all demons and all this and that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't say that, but you know.
He's funny. Is he another one that was like removed from YouTube? And him and Sneeko, are they all like, you know, gone from YouTube?
I think they're more on other streaming platforms, Rumble and other streaming platforms. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting.
I met Sneeko a few times too. Like I met Sneeko at in LA at No Jumper when Rollo was there.
Ah, cool. No Jumper's another fun one.
MLD was in there. I've known MLD for a little bit now. Actually, the way I met Thor was at an MLD event in San Diego.
Ah, interesting.
I was going there because my friend Paul Benjamin, ApexMindset, who if you haven't followed any of his stuff, I would definitely, you want ApexMindset. ApexMindset is the guy that you want to start looking into.
ApexMindset.
Yeah, he is the real deal.
He is the real. I'm gonna make a note of that and look into that. You're teaching me here because I'm new to this space.
I'm telling you, ApexMindset. He's red pill, but he talks more about on relationships, how to fix relationships, how to just really good stuff. Like he's not triggering. He doesn't try to like get sound bites. Like he's really. So he was my coach when I went through my divorce.
Ah, okay. Because you have an interesting story here.
Yeah, I got a story.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so he coached you through that.
Yeah, he coached me through the worst of it. And, I was already in Hollywood at the time filming and stuff. And I linked up with him and he really helped me get through it. And, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even be in the space. But Paul really me and Paul did a stream, and it's one of my videos I re-released not too long ago. Siege, get her the one with me and Apex on love and respect. Throw that in the chat, Siege.
Thanks, Siege.
That one is really good, and me and him break it down, love and respect. And it was a good show. Like Apex is the guy. Like I tell anybody that needs counseling, skip all the other mainstream people. Go to Paul. Go to Paul, ApexMindset. He will get you fixed.
It's important. You were a youth counselor, right? Do you still do that?
A youth pastor.
A youth pastor. Wow. Yeah. Are you still dabbling into any of that stuff with kids? And
I help young people when they reach out to me, but not so much in the church anymore.
Right.
I feel like this men's space is more of like a ministry field in itself. That's why I like working with Pastor Nick, Unplugged Christianity.
Okay.
He has the same heart.
There you go.
Just want to help guys. Just want to help, and this is like the next mission field.
Next mission field. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. The church. There's so much controversy in the church. Even I was born and raised Catholic, and there's a lot of strange things going on. Jesus. It's like, look, I have friends that, are gay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, you may have your own decisions, but the church has just become so overtly, woke in every way. Even there's a Catholic church on Park Avenue, right? I go up there and I'm like, look, it's the church. I understand with the gay flag, but you're painting the sidewalk and you have a gay flag outside the church. Like everything just becomes like every sermon, everything's about woke. It's so sickening. It's like, can we just get back to like helping people realize that God is, we need to change like our priorities here. It can't just be every single thing about these woke ideologies. And I feel like it's become so political in the Catholic Church. It's so political. It's disgusting. And money. It's just, I don't know. I don't really know what to think about the church. I don't ever put church on it.
The gender war in itself gender in itself, the gender war in itself, has divided religion. If we look at it, and it's sad.
Absolutely.
It's not about God anymore. You got pastors and priests preaching a narrative that's sprinkled in with a little bit of Christianese in there, but it's not about God. If you really going to preach about God, then when you look at man and woman, you would have seen here's the best argument against it. Here we go.
Okay.
So not only did God create things in a natural order, but he also there's a sin factor in here too, right? So God created man first, gave man dominion over the earth, right? Man named woman, when God brings Eve, the woman, to him, he says, oh, she's going to be called woman, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't have authority over women, how are you to name them? And then not only did he name her once, he named her twice. After the fall, he said her name will be Eve, right? So we have authority. There's a hierarchy here that men have authority. We're not equal. We're equal in value, but not equal in function. There's a different function that men have. Right there, just the creation narrative alone just trumps this whole ideology that men and women are equal in all capacity, right? Then if you go to Ephesians, when it talks about marriage, I love this part. I had this guy on not too long ago, and he tried to tell me that Ephesians 5:21, where it says mutually submit to one another out of reverence for Christ, that means men and women submit to each other. And I said, no. If you want to read Ephesians 5:21, you got to read Ephesians 5:15, because 5:21 is the end of a paragraph. 5:15 is the beginning of the paragraph. And to get an understanding. So we read through this and I show him that, like, listen, if you're saying 5:21 means men and women submit to one another mutually out of reverence for Christ, then why in 5:22 does it say wives have to submit to their husbands? So does men have to submit, but then wives got to submit? They got to do a double dose of submitting? Or is these referencing, hey, this is how an example of how you're going to submit to one another out of reverence for Christ? Wives submit to your husbands in 5:22. 6:1, children submit to your parents. Obey your parents, right? 6:1, and then 6:5, servants obey your bond masters, right? Your slave masters. So it's like your employees obey your bosses, children obey your parents, wives obey your husbands. There is a hierarchy there in design that God created. Why is it so hard to see that? But when you look at further in 5:23, it says wives submit to your husbands. Well, in order to be a wife, you have to be a what?
A female.
Okay, so right there, you're at war with culture. you already drew first blood right there.
There you go. Because what is a female today?
Well, we already know what a female is.
Yeah, duh.
So in order to be married, you have to be what? A husband?
Or a wife.
And a wife.
Correct.
In order to be a husband, you have to be a what?
A male. A biological male.
Okay. And in order to be a wife, you got to be a
biological female.
You just decided to go to war with everybody in the world right now just by saying that.
No, I've never heard anybody put this as well as you just did. I'm telling you right now. I don't even know the Bible like that. Okay, this is so bad. How did I teach catechism? My father's like, what did you do? Just go in the class and put on Jesus Christ Superstar over and over again? And I'm like, kind of. I'm like,
you know what? It's
kindergartners.
better than like throwing them the passion right away, because if you threw them the passion, that would have been bad.
Oh my God. I mean, I would think it was like 7th grade and they've got me teaching like kindergartners. I'm like, I just wheel the TV in, like, put the DVD in. It's like, oh my God, so bad. But you know what you just said, and Siege, thank you for the super chat. This is what Siege just said. I knew the title pastor producer would catch on. I got it now, Siege. I got it. I mean, you know, everything you just said, even without me knowing as a female, you know, I say this a lot. If it's easy to actually be a conservative female, because you can be dumb as hell. you can be so stupid. No, I'm serious. Because everything you said, I feel. I don't need to study or do any of this. Like, I don't have to have quotes from the Bible to know that I really want a man to tell me what to do. I really want authority. I want a man to be authority. I want a husband to take. I don't want to do what men do. And I also know that, let me see. Should I sit here and argue physically with that man? Probably not, because if he smacks me even just like this, I'm going to fly into the corner and probably be dead. I mean, there are just things that we inherently know. Why are we going against it? It's like I have a nephew, right? He's 5. I got him in so much trouble at school because he came home. He's like, Auntie, the teacher said to me that I could marry a boy or a girl. And I said, you know what to tell her next time? He goes, that's not true, because he likes this girl. I mean, you know, they're kids. And I said, listen, you like Melanie, that's it. You're marrying Melanie. No questions about it. And I said, he goes, well, what do I do if she keeps doing this to me? I said, you know what? You tell her to, right? And I did not think he was going to go do it. So my brother calls me. He's like, did you tell Anthony to tell the teacher to F off? And I'm like, I don't even swear. I said, I don't even swear. I'm like, oh my God. Let me tell you something, Glenn. My parents were actually dying of laughter. Okay? Because my nephew, he said, you know what? My aunt told me to tell you when he said, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Anthony, I didn't read
it's like the Kevin Hart. It's like the Kevin Hart movement where he goes like, it's about to go down. Do you know what my aunt told me to tell you? You know, nipple heaven teacher.
See, we need more fun in this space too. We need actors that are. Did you really do stunt work, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I am obsessed with that. Let me ask you a question, because I'm obsessed with like behind the scenes Top Gun. Right? I saw this thing where Tom Cruise actually. Did he really do those stunts?
So Tom Cruise does most of his stunts.
He really does. I swear to God, I was like, my brother, my father, my cousins, they're like, look at this. I'm like, no way, that's AI. There's no way. Did you see the one with the plane and he like went from one? I'm going to myself, this cannot be for real. He does.
So a lot of it's like, you know, there is green screen on there, but he does do a lot of his stunts.
Wow. I mean, I love that movie, aside from the fact I'm like, why did you have to do it? Why? Why did you have to put a female fighter pilot? Give me a break, okay? I won't even get on a plane.
Well, you know what? It was still the best non-woke action.
Absolutely.
I mean, it stayed as true to the original as you could hope for.
100%.
And that's what I loved about it. Like,
look, I love the movie. I saw it 3 times.
Don't get me wrong, the Scientologists are kind of out there, and I have worked with them. Like, I have worked with Scientologists on a lot of their commercials and stuff like that.
Really?
Like, yeah, like they've hired me for numerous stuff, and the joke is that I'm more like of a celebrity in the Scientology world than Tom Cruise is, because like when I go on their sets, they already know me. Like, I go to the gate, they're like, how you doing, Mr. Lawrence? You know?
Oh my gosh. So, you know, I live on Park Avenue, right? And the church is not far. You know, the Church of Scientology? Let me tell you something. They're always trying to recruit me. So one time, they have this device.
Yeah. You hold it in your hand?
He comes, this
I
kid.
did a commercial for it.
Oh, Glenn, are you kidding me? They were like, you have to come inside. And I go, okay, give it to me. So I hold it, and they're like, you have special being power. And I'm going,
yeah, the little
and I'm like, no. They're like, you have so much static. It was like going all over. And then I'm like, I do. I'm like, maybe it's my hair. They're like, no, please. And the kids were like, but they're going to know that the reader, and if you don't just come in, please, like, please, we're begging you. You just, you know, because it's we have to. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. And they're like, miss, please. You might be godly or something. I'm sitting here like, what is this device? I thought it was a joke. But after,
what did they call it? Oh,
I can't remember, but it was the funniest thing. And my girlfriend was like, "Oh my God, can you talk to my grandmother from the dead? Can you pull her? Like, I want to ask her a few questions about my mom. I want to know if my father was really the only one she was with." And I'm like, "Will you shut up, Sarah?" I'm like, just the weirdest thing. But that church is unbelievable. It's like a theater in there. It is the most stunning facility I have ever seen.
Yeah, no, like they what they do is they take a little bit of Christianity, sprinkle a little bit of, like, you know, science in there, and a bunch of other new age stuff. It's a melting pot of a bunch of other things. Um, they're they're cool people. They're lost, just like everybody else is.
Yep.
But I enjoy working with them, and they pay really well.
Now, there you go. There you go.
They pay really well.
And who was it?
They had me do I was doing off-roading, and like they got this souped up Charger for me, and they're like, "Look, we want you to thrash this thing. We want you to like go down the street, do stunts, donuts, all kinds of stuff." And I'm like, "Cool." And it was a great time. Great time. Like it was like 12-hour day, just driving around, doing moshing, doing all kinds of crazy stunts.
Wow.
It was cool.
Wow, that is cool. I always think like, is it Ron L. Hubbard or something that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Ron L. Hubbard.
And then there was a movie that I saw. That was another good movie. It was about them. I'm like, oh, the Master? No, is it The Master? Something like that. It was very interesting. Oh, I was like, wow, it's a little bit cultish for me, but all right, I'll hold your device.
It's interesting.
Very.
I'm like, what does this thing do? Like, it counts your electronic energy. I'm like,
yes, that's exactly what it does. Oh my gosh. I hope that the red pill community will get bigger and bigger and bigger and like change the narrative of the space. You know what?
Maybe it doesn't need to get bigger. That's the problem.
Maybe you're right.
Maybe what it doesn't need to get bigger, it needs to get more precise.
Interesting. Oops. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. There's like a notification on my thing. It's gone now. There we go. I'm trying to work a Zoom. I didn't realize the only way you could do this is like through Zoom or StreamYards or stuff like that.
StreamYard,
yeah. It was funny because I was like when the Super Bowl was around, like a lot of people in my family, like it's funny because most of the people are done with sports, but everybody will still come around to watch the Super Bowl because my father's like, it's too woke. I'm not dealing with the wokeness. And that. When it became all about Taylor Swift, it's like, what is this about? Sports used to be a place where, like I would see my fiance, my father, my brothers, my cousins. It was like a place to escape. Now you go and it's just all politics. It's like everywhere you go, it's woke politics, no matter what. And it's just like crazy to me. But, even within this space, the NFL, it's so funny because my father was like giving me a history lesson about it. It's like in 1966, I guess it's the NFL and the AFL, the two teams.
Yeah.
Like they had a secret meeting one day back in like 1966, came together and said, you know what? Yeah, we're doing different things, but we'd probably be stronger if we came together. And like those men from that time, from that era, they had the ability to look beyond themselves. And I really revere that. It's amazing when you actually hear the story because it's like, wow, they actually saw what the NFL was going to be today, and they knew they would probably never be here to see it, and they made it happen together. And I just wish that there was more of that.
Roll over in their graves right now if they actually saw what it has become, though.
Can you imagine? And I think it's a lot of women in these NFL positions, also.
Like Kaepernick, I think it all started when Kaepernick took a knee.
That kneeling.
I think that's kind of where things went left.
And where did it get him?
It got him unemployed.
Yeah.
A great contract from Nike, by the way, though. Like he made money off of Nike.
But he was a talented athlete. That's your legacy now? That's what you want is your legacy? That's like, come on. I mean,
he never amounted to what he could have been.
Correct.
Because he chose woke.
It's so sad. And think about all the work that goes into becoming an athlete
then you also
at that
look
level.
At the other side, Tim Tebow, though.
Tim Tebow, I love Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow, I don't think amounted to what he could have been either because, the woke didn't like his religious...
antithesis of it, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't talk about God. That's another thing. No. It's crazy. Even on YouTube, it's like, you get in these spaces, you can't talk about God. What
you could talk about sluts. You could talk about gangbangs. You could talk about, the most debauchery, scenarios. But you mentioned God. How dare you?
It's crazy. I don't understand how that's even possible. How is this possible? Yeah. You're literally, you have people talking the most disgusting, grotesque stuff on YouTube. But if you talk about God, you're like, getting a warning, a strike. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's sad.
It's very
It's really
sad.
sad. I'm surprised. Like, I'm really surprised that you have not connected with Pearl.
No, I have not connected with Pearl. Well, Pearl's too famous. I'm like down here.
What are you talking about?
I'm like this
text...
big. This is me. I'm like an ant on a mountain, and there's Pearl. I have a lot of respect for Pearl. Actually, you know what? The first time
I'm gonna try to plug you two together because Pearl's good people, and I think she will definitely like your messaging. I think she'll definitely like what you got going on. I definitely think. Hold on, who's messaging me now?
Well, we both agree on one thing: women shouldn't vote. I love her T-shirts.
Oh yeah,
women
actually,
shouldn't vote.
I have one. I've worn one to the gym.
That's so funny.
Like I cut off the sleeves, and like I get the stares. I get like the.
Are you in Vegas?
No, I'm in LA.
Oh, you're in LA.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about on. I don't even know. The entertainment industry is so demonic. It is. But you know
demonic. What? That's why I don't work in the mainstream. I'm more independent. I work in more independent films. So we have more freedom to do what we want, talk about what we want, say what we want.
You go. There you go. Yeah, no, Pearl, she's, a lot of jealous people out here. I think everything with Pearl, most of it's jealousy. I'm sorry. A lot of these feminists are super jealous. Come on. I mean, look, man, you know how many, first of all, women in general, it's like, how many people help me with this? My father, my cousin, my brother, my this, my that. You think I'm sitting here? I don't even know how to turn this crap on. Okay, let's be real. I like to make jokes. I like to do stuff, and they're like, fine, you could do this. We'll help you. Do you think I can actually do this alone? This is what I mean about women. It's like you're delusional. You know what I mean? But Pearl is a hard worker. And I think it's really disgusting what happened to her. I really do. As far as to be demonetized like this.
She does mean very well. And she really is trying to have honest conversations and have that's why I think that you guys would be a good collaboration. I think it would be funny. Good for you and Pearl to collaborate like this because I think you guys will have you both are very polarizing and captivating.
Oh, that's a compliment. Thank you.
I think it would be good, especially for, the females in this world to hear, they hear Pearl, but they don't hear you. And I think if you two collaborated, they would both be able to hear you better.
Hey, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Siege, for, putting me with Pastor.
Siege is the man. He's the man behind he's the man that he's the faceless man.
He is. He is. The only face I see with Siege are those beautiful dogs, the greyhounds.
Yep, his greyhounds.
Oh my gosh, Glenn, I am so thankful for you to have joined me on this. I know you don't.
Thank you.
You don't have like 45 hours. I could probably talk to you all day, and we have to do this again. I'd love to come on your platform. You're more than welcome anytime to come on here. Anytime. I
definitely want you to come on. I'm gonna host a panel with women on, and just like talk about like current topics and just some of the most wild takes out there on the YouTube and see what kind of reactions we get out of you guys.
Oh, interesting. The only thing I don't do, I tell Siege this all the time because he's like, do you want to come on Access? And I'm like, no, I can't argue with I don't want, I'm not a debater at all. I'm not Pearl is really good at handling, all the girls, and it's funny. I think I could do something funny with her, but I'm not one to be in a space of debate. I like to have conversations, discussions.
Yeah.
I definitely have an opinion. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I think it'll be funny to see like the most what the reactions that we get out of it. Just funny things
I think so too. Well, before we wrap, I'm gonna one more time. I just want to know from you, because you are an expert in this, where do we go from here?
Well, the first problem we have to analyze is we have to reflect on ourselves and say, the real problem that we have, and look in the mirror and say, it's you. We are our first problem. All the sins, all the negative things that we do, that contributes to the world.
Correct.
Problems. So instead of looking outside and be like, oh, well, this 304 over here is doing this, what are you doing to contribute to that? You know, so the man in the mirror is who we really got to start to look at first. From there, then we work on ourselves. Then that inspires people to work on themselves. And that's how we really fix the world.
Yep.
You know, that's the best way to do it.
It's good advice. Accountability. We have to take accountability.
It starts with me.
Yeah.
The sins of this world starts with me.
Yeah.
And I got to fix my own sins before I can fix anybody else's sins.
Me too. Me too. I'm just trying to be, you know, a good voice for the females in this space and, you know, fight the war on femininity because I love being feminine. And I definitely want a man to save me.
I like women being feminine too. I'm like, you look amazing. You're just like beautiful. You're wonderful.
Thank
look at
you.
this. Like, why can't we get more women to wear stuff like that? Like, you gotta show no cleavage. You gotta show no nothing. You just look at that. It just yells feminine.
It's unbelievable. It's like, you know, I feel weird. It's like I have clothes on all the time. You walk outside and everyone's naked. It's like there's nothing to leave to the imagination.
Nothing.
Like it used to be a big deal to just put like a little bikini on and go on the boat. You know, that's appropriate for that. But I mean, you're just showing up on podcasts literally in panties and a bra. I mean, some of the stuff I see, it's like,
what I think when I see that, I go, you know, somebody robbed her of her clothes on the way to the studio. They're like, give me your clothes right now. Give me your clothes right now. And she's like, oh my God. And that's what I think, you know.
Glenn, you crack me up. I think that's also why Siege put us together because he knows I like to laugh. Plus, I loved your reel, all your red pill stuff. Like, oh my gosh, like your reel is sick. And you have the best pictures for my little PNGs. Because it's hard to find real photos of people.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's the real deal. All right. I hope we do this again. Will you come back?
We should do it soon.
Okay. You tell me when, and you know I'll be here. I am available. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Shout out to anybody in the chat. Thank you so much for everyone here. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, you know what?
Siege a shout out again.
Siege, I'm going to give you a shout out. And you know what? I'm going to sing my song for anybody that didn't hear it the first time. And guess what? Glenn got the answer right. So I started instead of my normal riddle. And you know, this was for you, Siege, because of Rollo. He's always around there. I'm going to sing it one more time a little bit, and you tell me, Glenn, if I sound like him or not. How could you just let me walk away? Just leave the sphere without a trace. With all the knowledge that I gave to you, you douche nozzles, you fools. I'm the only one who really broke it down for you. So take a look at me now. I brought us to a rational place. And how dare you chastise me when I set you free? I'm the godfather of the space. Take a look at me now. That's it. Now, I shouldn't be playing the guitar because he's the guitar player, but it's so much more fun.
I'm ready, like, everybody should take their phones out and just, like, you know, wave them in the sky, you know.
Making fun of Rollo is so fun. The douche,
It's
you
easy.
douche
It's
nozzles.
easy.
Okay, Glenn, you are the best. I put your
Thank
link
you.
down there. I know everybody already follows you. Hello, I'm the one that needs the followers. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you were my first live guest. This is great.
Wow,
I hope
look
you.
at me.
Yeah.
Let's be number one.
We're starting off the lives in the right direction. Let me know if you like this, guys, in the chat, okay? I'm DiBrava, Glenn Lawrence, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Peace.